This is my first YouTube video ever, my first YouTube channel ever. Welcome. My name is Mabel Holler, and I'm a romantasy reader and writer. Over the last year, I have written and edited a full manuscript. I'll talk more about my book in a subsequent episode because I'm just excited that this is my 1 year anniversary of being on Bookstagram and my 1 year anniversary of deciding to write a novel. So last year, around July 14th, I decided to stop everything else I was doing. No, I'm kidding. I didn't stop anything else I was doing. I just decided to add a novel to my to-do list. And I became consistent with it, and I finished the novel. And now I'm trying to sort of build my Bookstagram community and get more engaged and more involved. I love videos like this. I watch them all the time. But now I decided to make them. So we will see how this goes. So tonight's video, for my very first video ever, very first Bookstagram and YouTube video ever, is going to be books, popular books that I DNF'd. And this does not mean that you should. And so there will be caveats in that. And also, stay till the end to find out the one book that I might go back to. And if you like romantasy, fantasy, romance, writing, reading, and or have questions about querying, follow, because I have done a really crazy amount of research into querying, and so I have a lot of answers for you. Don't have an agent yet, but I have had manuscript requests, and we're going to see how this process goes. So if you want to follow along on my process or just learn more about books, thanks and subscribe. So let's get started. The first one is The Ashes and the Star-Cursed King. So this is by Carissa Broadbent, and she wrote The Serpent and the Wings of Night, which was one of my absolute favorite books in romantasy. So I started with ACOTAR, as many people did, and then that was the second book that I read actually in the romantasy genre. It was at the library, and I picked it up and I loved it. It was so great. It had all of the things that I loved about Twilight, with all of the like really fast-paced fantasy elements and war and fighting, and then just again was more fast-paced than Twilight. And it was grown up, which I loved. And so that book was amazing to me. When I started reading this one, I think it's just really slow. I feel that if I could get through the first bit, it might get better. But I also, and again, this is why I say it's not that you shouldn't read this book. It's sort of my own brain knowing that this is like the end of their duology as a couple and not wanting to really get to the end because I don't really care to read if this book is going to end. So that's hard for me, but I am just bored in this first bit. There is some amazing prose about sort of the suffering and stress that's going on in the first bit. I won't include any spoilers in this video, so don't worry. But the first bit is very heavy prose and really beautiful, but just boring to me. I don't know. I'm not interested. I'm having trouble also remembering the names of all the characters and what happened in the first book, so that might be part of it, is that I didn't reread The Serpent and the Wings of Night before I came back to this. And so I was having a little bit of trouble like remembering all the characters and stuff like that. So I put it down and I haven't been able to pick it back up. And so it's a DNF. And maybe someday I will. Who knows? We'll see. The second book is Powerless by Lauren Roberts. This book, I know is super popular. I also know there's a lot of like conspiracy, or not necessarily conspiracy, but a lot of talk about sort of the familiarity and things that are very similar to The Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard. And so I know that is going on. I was intrigued by the premise. I read probably about halfway through, and let me tell you, if I can give this a 5-star for anything, it is the banter between Kai and Peyton is amazing. It's top tier. Like, love it. You just like, you're like kicking your legs and squealing and going, oh my gosh, this is hilarious. Like, what are they doing? But I knew how it's going to end. I mean, it's a trial. And I struggle with trial fantasies so much because you know that the trial's coming and the trial's going to be the big climax at the end, and you don't necessarily know exactly how it's going to play out, but you know that your main character's going to survive. And it's Hunger Games, right? Like, we know what's going to happen. We know that at least the two of them are going to survive because there's a second book, so we know that they survive. And so that's just like so boring to me when I know the ending is coming. And also, when I was reading the Bridge Kingdom series, I'll just like make a little mention here. I almost didn't make it through the Bridge Kingdom because of that same sort of thing. I knew the ending that was coming. I was watching it unfold and there was nothing I could do to stop it. Sort of same thing here. Like, I know that the trial's coming and I'm not really interested in what happens. So, I did read a little bit of Reckless, and I have not read Fearless. So, DNF'd. The next book is The Hurricane Wars by Thea Guazon. And let me just tell you that I had no idea that this was based on Star Wars fan fiction at all when I went into this. I was at Barnes & Noble and I saw this like amazing map. Look, you can get me with a map. If your map looks like this, I'm going to pick up the book because look at that. Like an amazing color map. It's so beautiful. Anyways, and the premise is really interesting. There's like these sort of like mechanical, magical flying ships. Like it's really cool. To be honest, this book is beautifully written in the sense of the prose. It's really interesting, and there's a lot of really sweet, beautiful sentences that like set up this atmosphere for you. But that made it really dense for me to get through. Like, it wasn't as accessible language-wise to me. And then also, of course, there were like a million names of a million things. And some books, like, you just kind of struggle through, or I did anyways, like Crescent City, When the Moon Hatched. I struggled through getting to know all of the characters and the backstory, and then was able to like enjoy the story. With this one, for whatever reason, I really struggled to get in to all of the different names and all of the different characters, and I think that part of it was that idea that the prose was just kind of, a little bit difficult for me to sort of know what was going on. That's not to say that you would find the same. I don't know. So it was a combination of those things. I got kind of bored. While I was reading this, I learned from Instagram that this was a Kylo Ren and Rey fanfic. And for me personally, I've never really like thought that they were a cool ship. Like, to me, they just don't really belong together. And also don't really like Rey, to be honest. So I think combination of those things, and I sort of just got bored and DNF'd about halfway through. Would I return to this? Probably, absolutely. And would I enjoy it? Most likely. So, not saying that you should not read this, but I just didn't get through it. This one's probably the saddest to me because first off, I love dragons. My book has a dragon in it. And it's kind of my favorite fantasy subgenre, dragons. So this book, like the front cover, amazing. Again, color map. So you got me. The premise was really cool, and she has these 5 dragons. I think it's 5. Don't quote me on that. I'm gonna check. Does it say how many dragons there are? Okay, fact check me and come back and comment how many dragons there actually are. But I think it's like 5. And they are being held captive by her father, who is like the worst person on the planet, was terrible to her. And she's been living like in another kingdom that she's the queen of. And there were just like some confusing world building elements to it. But I pushed past those because, to be honest, like, I am such a passenger when I read. Like, I don't really notice plot holes, and I don't really notice like world building issues. Typically, I just kind of like breeze through them. I'm like, yeah, sure, fine. You want there to be like a magical pony on the side of the road? There's a magical pony on the side. There's fantasy. Who cares? So I wasn't thrown off by that. I actually made it. You can see how far I made it through the book. I really pushed through some segments. Some segments I was excited about. It's very tropey. There's a lot of different tropes that we love in fantasy, and those kind of help push it along for me because I enjoyed those scenes. But ultimately, I was just so bored by the ending. Again, it's predictable what the ending is setting up to happen. You know what their goal is. You know what all the characters are thinking. And it's kind of like a typical plot structure of a novel where you sort of know that, for me, it's like I know the romance of this novel is kind of over for the moment because they have to focus on the big, dramatic climactic scene. And so, what's going to happen is they're going to all, I'm not going to spoil anything, but they're going to all go to do this thing. Fighting's going to ensue. Maybe one side character will die. Then they'll accomplish their goal, and the two of them will sort of ride off into the sunset, I guess, or the two of them will be at odds at the end of it and break up for like the second one, Anyways, you know what's going to happen. And I was just bored, I don't know. I think the theme through all of this is I got bored. So I don't know what that says about it. I wouldn't be afraid to try it. I would just go into it cautiously that maybe it's not going to deliver the excitement that the cover and the map suggest. So, and the last one I'm going to talk about is when I am listening to an audiobook or was listening to an audiobook and I DNF'd at about like 3 chapters in, and that I'll put a picture of. But that is Guild, the Plated Prisoner series in the first one. And so Guild, to me, I am totally here for spice. I love spice. I like spice between like our main 2 love interests and not just like kind of almost to me like Game of Thrones-y spice where it's like just kind of in your face to be there for like no reason. It's not because characters love each other or have this passionate relationship. It's just happening. And so anybody that knows, I guess this is not too much spoiler because it is the first couple of chapters, but it opens very graphically and just very like overwhelming to me, at least. And so I was listening to this in my car. And again, like I'm the type of person like I can read spice in the middle of the airport, like I'm fine. But I was listening to this in my car and I was like, this is weird, and I'm not here for it yet. But I've heard such good things about the Plated Prisoner series, and I've heard such good things about the later books in particular, and I've heard that it's one of those things that you have to just push through. So, that is the one that I am most likely to go back and read because I've gotten so many recommendations that I have to go back and read. So let me know in the comments what you guys think. If you think I should go back and read any of these, I will totally do it. I'm definitely gonna give Guild another try, and I may go back and finish The Ashes and The Starker's King, and I probably won't go back to the other ones. I'm kind of done with Powerless for sure. And the Hurricane Wars, I would have to start from the beginning again. It's been so long. And so I probably won't get there. But I will leave them on my bookcase because we love the entire experience of reading. Anyways, the next film thing that I want to film is going to be the moments in the stories that we love that broke me, or the moments that were like the sort of pinnacle of me deciding that I love this series forever. So I'm going to talk about Throne of Glass for sure. It's kind of, Roman Empire, but also When the Moon Hatched is sort of more my personal Roman Empire because I don't hear as many people talk about. So those are some of my books that I'm going to be talking about in the next version of this YouTube filming. And I'll also give you guys a query update, and we'll go from there. Anyways, if you like this video or want to see more things with me, please follow and subscribe, or go check me out on Instagram. Thanks.